those of you who are new with us for the first time today, I'm going to start the day, as I always do, with literally just a quick flyby of who we are and what we do. And during the course of the day, you're going to see lots and lots of evidence of people from all backgrounds and all walks of life being able to build something for themselves under the umbrella of our amazing company called Forever. And as you look around our room today, evidence of people from the age of 18 through to their older years becoming entrepreneurial. And for me, my journey started back in April 1994, so I'm about to come into my 23rd year of being a business owner with Forever, and then I became the country manager in 1999, so nearly 17 years in the corporate role too. And I guess I probably see more evidence than you guys do of the success of various individuals as we run our success weekends in the UK, and then in Ireland we run a monthly success day, and I literally see people from all backgrounds achieving success. And so if you're here for the first time today thinking, can I do this? The answer very much is yes, as long as you believe that you can do this. Underpinning our business, as we heard yesterday, is a remarkable infrastructure. But I think probably more significant than that, the message yesterday was that our business more than anything is around values. Greg, Aidan all made reference to the fact that the number one people that are thought about in any commercial decision we make are our Forever business owners. And that philosophy very much comes from the guy that we see on the screen here, Rex Moore, our founder, who very much still at the helm of Forever, although as you'll have observed yesterday, Greg now taking a more day-to-day role in the mechanics of our business, but the philosophy definitely comes from Rex. People come first. People come before profits in our organization, actually. Some of the commercial decisions that we've made in the past, very many companies would not have made because they didn't always make commercial sense, but they were made around the people. Having said that, in the nearly 40 years that we've been doing this, we now have a very stable business. It's cash rich, it's debt free. As we expand into different markets around the world, we fund those from the profits of our successful markets like the UK, like Ireland, like Iceland. And we operate in over 150 countries. Yesterday you saw the VPs from the major regions, Africa, Asia, the Americas, and Europe. Europe is by far our biggest region. About 60% of our global turnover comes from Europe, and a big chunk of our profits come from Europe, which is great news for us. It's great news because very close by, outside of the UK, is a huge population of people. And around most of Europe, the cultures are quite similar to the UK. So doing business across Europe for us is easy as business owners. You heard Garen yesterday talk about the investments that we're going to continue to make in technology. Our observation as a head office team is that technology is perfect for our business. It's so much easier to build a Forever business now than it was even 10 years ago. In fact, when very many of us in the room here started 20 years ago, the mobile phone was about the size of a house brick. I don't think we could even send an email then. And the only way that you really could build your business was by picking up the phone, talking to people, organizing a one-to-one with them, sitting down over a cup of coffee, and that's still very much part of our business now. But in addition to that, now we have Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, all the platforms that now exist in the social media world. You're going to hear a bit more about that later on with a presentation of our FLP Social, which is having a massive impact, particularly for our newer people. So we're seeing now as a head office team that those of you getting started are almost sometimes immediately building international businesses because you can now communicate with people around the world very much easier. So it's a very exciting time to be part of the Forever organization. We're riding some really powerful trends. Those trends are firstly an aging population, but a population that wants to stay fit and healthy. A more educated population in terms of awareness of health. We know pretty much know what's good and what's bad for us, and we know that we can influence our own health by some of the things that we do. Taking exercise, drinking water, eating fruit and vegetables, not smoking, not drinking so much, for those of you who were partying last night. And those are things that we know, and we also are aware now of the quality of the product that we consume, whether it be food or whether it be a nutritional supplement or whether it be a skincare product. And so there's been an explosion in the health product world over the last decade. And you have access to that now as a forever business owner because you have access to a range of first-class products with a money-back guarantee that you can go out there and share with your friends, with your family, with the people in your community. And the power of our business is the product. That's what underpins our business. You know, without that powerful product, the marketing plan wouldn't be as beneficial as it is. The longevity of the business would not be there if this was just a fad. Yesterday I asked the audience when we started, and I'll do the same today, how many people had become a forever business owner having first been a customer. Let's do the same exercise today. How many of you were customers before you were business owners? Okay, if you're one of our guests today or a new person in the room, take a little look around, because probably 30 or 40% of the room have their hand up. And that's a fundamental of our business, that people get a strong emotional attachment to the product and they come back time after time after time. And if you speak to any of our established business owners, they will tell you of customers that they've had for literally years. I've had some of my customers for 20 years. Most of my customers are around where I live. And because I'm a strong advocate of the product myself, it's not difficult to introduce it to others. We naturally, as human beings, recommend things that we've experienced. If you've seen a great television program or been to a film or read a good book, you're likely to pass on that enthusiasm for that experience with other people. And that's essentially what we do in building our forever business. So it's an amazing, untapped opportunity that we have. Greg touched on this yesterday. In spite of the fact that the UK business is the #1 in the world. Hey, yesterday there was some threat of some other country. Was it Japan or something? What? We're going to stay there for a while, aren't we? I love the fact everybody asks what's happening in the UK. We ought to take that as a compliment, don't you think? You know, we have the best infrastructure, the best support, the best leaders across our FBO base of anywhere in the world. And the exciting thing, as was illustrated by Greg yesterday, we haven't scratched the surface even in our home market. We could be 4 or 5 times bigger than we are now just by doing the same amount of business per head of population of some of the smaller countries, like our group from Iceland. Are you in here today, Iceland? Hey, you're not looking so enthusiastic as you did yesterday. Was there an Icelandic party I didn't get invited to last night? These guys know how to party. They have this wicked stuff in Iceland called Brennivin. And it's nicknamed the Black Death. And I suspect these guys might have been on the Brennivin last night because they're not so lively. It's a bit like a vodka shot, only deadlier. Anyway, where were we? Yes, in Iceland. We do probably 4 times as much business per head of population in Iceland as we do in the UK. Yeah, and yet if you speak to the Icelandic guys, they'll tell you there's still lots of people in Iceland who still don't know about forever living. So a really, really exciting time to be part of us. So what's the difference that'll make the difference to you guys getting started? Well, it's obviously not in the marketplace. That exists for all of us. It's not in the product. That exists for all of us. It's in your head. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're absolutely right. Meaning that the success of your forever business is completely between your ears. We all, whether we've been in the business for a short period of time or whether we've been in the business for a long period of time, we all have people who give us feedback about what we're doing that isn't always the feedback that we would like to have heard. For example, some people have said to me, I think your product's rather expensive. Some people have even commented that the gel isn't as tasty as it might be. Can you believe it? Ridiculous. Now, how I take on board that information may well influence my attitude towards the business from then on in. So whether we think we can or whether we think we can't, we're right. The key to our business is around our mindset. It's about building strong belief in what we do, strong belief in our product, strong belief in our company, strong belief in our industry. Buddha said all that we are is the result of our thoughts. So, the product is the same for everybody. The feedback is varied for everybody. Where we live is pretty much consistent for everybody. I mean, you may think you live in a town or city in Britain that's had all the negative people in the world placed in it. I know that because as I travel the country and come to as many meetings as I can to talk to you guys, I will very often have somebody come up to me and say, well, you know, Bob, the reason I'm not doing so well in Forever is because, yeah, everybody in Manchester's negative. Sorry if you live in Manchester, by the way, but I love Manchester. But you know what? It's not that they're all negative in Manchester. They're negative everywhere. But amongst them are some positive people. And that's the key. It might be that you think all your friends and relatives are negative. Would that be fair? I've got a really creative team in marketing. They think we should have a different success day next year, a bit like the X Factor, but we're going to allow you to bring your most negative people with you. And we'll have like Simon up there somewhere. And we'll give some awards for Mr. and Mrs. Negative. Anybody got any candidates? I mean, is this show going to work? Wow, it's going to be a roaring success. And trust me, some of those friends and family and relatives won't get any more positive, even when you're successful in Forever Living. They'll still doubt you. So the key is absolutely for you to start to believe. Because you know what? Our beliefs are really important to our thought process. Whether we think we can or whether we think we can't affects our attitude. And if our attitude is we can't do something, then chances are, even if we take some action, we'll take that action with the mindset that we think we're going to fail. And if we take action with the mindset that we think we're going to fail, we greatly increase our chances of failing. Anybody got any young kids in the room? Okay, you know, one of the worst things that you could possibly say to them when you hand them that glass of Ribena is, don't spill that when you walk through the lounge. Because you know what happens when you say that to them? All of a sudden, from being able to walk quite, capably with a glass, they spill it. And that's the same philosophy and reaction that we get when we talk about our Forever business. If we think the product doesn't work, if we think the product's expensive, if we think everybody in our community is going to laugh at us because of the type of business that we're in, then when we take that action, no matter what words we use outside of our mouth there, the reaction is most likely to be, I don't think this person really believes what they're saying. So it's really, really important that as quickly as possible you develop a positive belief. Firstly around the product, and that I think is the easiest to build belief around, because what you need to do to build belief in the product? Use it. And I can honestly say to you, if you use our product or products and you can't see any value in them, I would say to you, you're probably not in the right business. I believe you have to be passionate about what you do. And that starts, I think, with a fundamental belief in the product range. So use the product, become a strong advocate, go to the trainings, learn everything you can about the product. If you have a mindset that you think the product's expensive and may not work, fix that. You can fix it by using it, you can fix it by finding out the extent that we go to source the highest quality ingredients, the processes that we go through to manufacture the products that make it better than other products. The second thing to build belief in is the company. How do you do that? Well, get engaged to the company. Come to events like this, come to trainings, come to success days. And as a result of meeting people, seeing the success, you'll start to build your belief in Forever Living. It is a unique business. we would say that, though. You have to explore that and discover that for yourself so that you can see you're in the right place. Start to build your belief around our industry. I can't tell you how many people say to me, is it a cult? Is it a pyramid scheme? Will it last? You need to get, as I have, a strong, strong belief that this is an honest, ethical industry, an industry that gives ordinary people the chance to do extraordinary things. And it does that because there's a fairly low cost of entry into our industry. Most of us bought a box that was less than £200, but with that box comes a blueprint. With that box comes support and encouragement. And so as a result of buying that relatively inexpensive box, there are people in this room that have become extremely wealthy. So that's an industry that helps ordinary people succeed. And you need to build your belief in that industry. And outside, amongst one of our concession stands, is Knowledge is King, fondly referred to as Barry the Book. And he has he has very many excellent books on his stand, but one of them is called The Business of the 21st Century by Robert Kiyosaki. You might be familiar with him as an author. He wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Business of the 21st Century is Robert Kiyosaki's take on network marketing and why it's an industry that will go from strength to strength. And in that book, you will learn how to answer, is it a pyramid, is it a cult? And you'll also learn that there are certain things to look for in our industry before you join a company. And we tick all of those boxes. So it's a great book to educate yourself on. It's also a great book to lend to prospects so that they understand our company better. And the final thing to build belief in is ourselves. Very many of you may not have been in business for yourself before, been an entrepreneur before, and so you might think, can I do this? And I would encourage you to work more on yourself than anything else. Read the right material. Start to change your perception of yourself. Start to develop that positive self-image about yourself. Be honest with yourself as an entrepreneur. Recognize that signing the form and getting into business for yourself doesn't guarantee that you'll be successful. You need to do some things in order to be successful, and the first of those is to start to believe that you can be successful. And then it's to work your business diligently day after day after day. There are some things to ask yourself, I think, as a business owner at the end of every week about your forever business. I would ask yourself this first question: would I pay me for last week? Does that make sense? Meaning, you don't have a boss when you work for forever, you are your own boss. But did you put enough time and effort into your business last week to move it forward? Would I pay me? The second question I'd ask of myself if I were in your position is, would I follow me? Meaning, were you enthusiastic and inspirational when you talked about our product or your product to a potential customer? Were you inspirational when you talked to your team or a prospect to join your team? So being honest with ourselves is the key part of building our forever business, at the same time as starting to build a strong belief that we can do this. I promise you, if you can just master these small ideas of building a positive belief in the product, the company, the industry, and ourselves, and diligently touching your business each day, and that for some of you might only be that you have a half an hour or an hour to dedicate to your forever business around your work commitments or your family commitments. That's fine. I've seen people build a business even with a short amount of time, as long as they've committed to doing something constructive in that short period of time. During the course of this year, for example, I remember one of the testimonials that we had from the stage. I can't remember what level they were being recognized at, but it was a lady who had a corporate career that was very demanding. And she said she struggled when she joined Forever Living to find time to build her business. And what she did in the end was, rather than taking a lunch break with her colleagues in the canteen, she used to spend that 1 hour lunch break working her forever business, making some contacts, going on Facebook, doing all the things that we do to connect with people. And as a result of that focused 1 hour each day, over time she'd managed to build a business. And her business was now at the level where she had choices, whether to continue with the pressures of her corporate career or whether to go full-time in forever. So it's not necessarily that you need hours and hours and hours. It's great if you've got lots of time, but it's about focus. And that focus comes when we have that belief and we have a strong desire to change our lives. And I promise you, if you do that over a period of time, and you'll see evidence of it today, you can change your lives beyond belief. There are people that we're going to recognize today that just a few short months ago or short years ago were in a very different position than they're in now. And the reason that they're now in a better position is that focus and commitment. So for those of you here for the first time today, I hope you get a little insight, a little bit of inspiration that you too could be on this stage over the coming months or years as a result of just following some basic principles of success in our business. Hope that's been helpful to those of you here for the first time today.